Welcome to the Surfside Kollel Boker. We are discussing the Parashat of Vayera, last week's parasha, and there was an interesting piece about tefillah, about prayer. Let's take a look. This comes down from the Mekor Baruch, Rabbi Baruch Misirt. Zechuto Yagen Alenu Amen. So he says here, the Rav Hasadik Mibelz, Amar li pam dehine tefillat shacharit anu lemedim Abraham, that we learn the tefillah of shacharit from Abraham Avinu, as brought in Berachot Kaf Av Amud Bet. Dechtiv vayashkem Abraham baboker el makom asher amad sham. That Abraham went back to the place that he went to go pray. Bezot hayta tefillat Abraham Avinu lavashom al anshe Sedom. When he went back to the place to pray, he was praying for Sedom. He went back to pray there. Now, what's interesting is that initially he wasn't answered because he asked for 50 and then he went to 45 and 40. He kept on lowering numbers of tzaddikim till he finally was going to get an answer. So seemingly he wasn't given an answer of yes when he prayed. He said, please save the city for this. Hashem said, no, I can't for that. And he got no. But it's interesting. We learn tefillah from this pasuk and from Avraham Avinu in a case where he seemingly didn't get answered. Imagine I tell you, okay guys, we're going to learn prayer. We're learning prayer from Avraham Avinu. Okay, what's that prayer? It's a prayer that he prayed for Sedom. Yeah, but his prayer wasn't answered. So why would you teach me prayer from a situation of someone that didn't get answered? Show me, Avraham prayed for other things. Show me that he prayed for his son and he got answered. It says, why do we learn from a prayer like this? It wasn't answered. We saw many others that he prayed and got answered. That even if you know for sure that you're not going to get answered, let's say, I don't know, you have information, Ruach HaKodesh, or you know that for some reason or another this prayer is not going to be answered, you're still required to go and pray. Prayer is not about an action to a reaction of always being answered. V'zeh perush pasuk ahavti, and this is what it says in the pasuk, ahavti ki yishma Hashem et koli, like it says in Tehillim, kuf tet zayin, pasuk aleph, I was happy when God heard my voice. That doesn't say ahavti ki anani Hashem et koli, ki yishma, I'm happy that God will hear my voice. Whether he answers, I don't know. So he says here, daika, specifically, that he heard. Kilomar etzem tefilati gam im lo yimale bakashati. Says even if he doesn't answer my full prayer, the fact that he heard me, the Rav Mebels says that is the inyan of tefillah, and that's why we learn from Abraham. But the Pituchei Chotam, Rabbi Yaakov Bohatzira, says a completely different interpretation. Says no, we learn tefillah from Abraham Avinu because he was answered. What do you mean? How was he answered? I thought they destroyed Sedom. Let's take a look what happened here. So it says here, Hashem Amar Hamchase Ani Me Avraham Asher Ani Oseh. Hashem tells Avraham, am I going to hide from you what I'm going to do? What do you mean? Why did Hashem even have this conversation? And who did he talk to? Hashem was talking to himself. Mi Amar el Mi. Hashem Amar to who? He said to himself, am I going to hide from Avraham? Why? Because he just told Avraham recently that I'm going to give you this entire land, it's all yours. And now he's about to destroy a few cities, 3, 4, 5 cities down in Sedom, in Amorah, Adma Utzfoyim. He's about to destroy all of those cities, and he's going to destroy cities in a piece of land that I just gave to somebody without informing him. So he said it's only appropriate that I inform him that I just gave you this land, that there's a couple of cities that have problematic situations and communities or culture. We have to take those out. But let me just inform you because I just told you this is all your land, so it would be inappropriate not to tell you, Hashem said. So it says, so we have to look at what happened in Sedom. God said, I'm not going to hide from you. And God said He's going to destroy them. He said, please, maybe if there's 50 tzaddikim. Until he got to 10 and he didn't find the 10. And God destroyed those cities. What was the purpose of telling Abraham Avinu that he's going to destroy Sedom? What was the purpose of this? Because if you tell me that he told him this so that he could pray to save the city, he prayed, but he didn't save the city. So why even tell Abraham this information? bakashato shel Abraham. And what benefit came from Abraham Avinu praying to save the city if nothing ended up happening there? Lifi aniyut da'ati, according to my knowledge, he says, God never says anything for vain or waste. And it's impossible that a Sadiq is going to pray and ask for mercy and it's going to come back empty. It's not going to happen. And he says Abraham was one of the biggest Sadiqim. So God saw from Lot there's going to end up coming two very, very important people. Who are those? Ruth HaMoaviyah and Na'amah HaAmonit. Those were the two that came later on from them. So Velot en be'edu zechut linatzel. Now Lot had not one zechut to be saved. They couldn't find anything on this guy Lot. So what Abraham ended up doing is he ended up praying for Lot to be saved because Lot himself didn't have a zechut to be saved. And Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Ani megalel Abraham ma'aseh Sodom. I'm going to tell Abraham about what's happening in Sodom. And he's going to pray and ask for mercy. And his prayer will not be to save the city. It's going to be to save Lot, because we have to get those two important people out. The goal of Abraham was never, according to Rabbi Yaakov Hatzira, to save the cities. It was only to save Lot. He was specifically asking for Lot. So what happened here? That's why it said at the end in Pasuk Lamed Bet, it says, Lo ashit ba'abur asara. God says, I am not going to destroy ba'abur asara for the 10. But what do you mean? He did destroy it. So I mean, Lo ashit ba'abur asara, if there is 10. Let's take a look what he says. He says, Dematzinu derut she'atzta milot hi hishlima hashbon shel asara sadikim ze achar ze b'asar derot miperetz ad David. So he said here that if you take the generations of Peretz, the son of Yehuda, until David HaMelech, there are 10 generations. And that's what it says when Hashem told them, Lo ashit, I am not going to destroy Lot, the ba'avur asara, for the 10. What do you mean the 10? That's the 10 generations from Peretz until David HaMelech, that was the kingdom, the Malchut Bet David, that ended up coming out. So he says, because of this, I am not going to destroy. And Hashem did answer the tefillah of Abraham. We think that Abraham Avinu prayed for the whole city, that they shouldn't die. He was praying specifically for Lot. And Hashem said, Ba'avura asara, for the 10 generations that's going to produce David HaMelech and Malchut Bet David, I'm going to keep them. Not that it was going to be for the whole town. That means that Abraham Avinu's prayer was answered. And if it was answered, then it's a good source to use for Shacharit. Because before we learned from the Tzaddik Mibels that he said that Abraham Avinu, we learned from Yashkim Abraham Babokel Makom Hashem Ad Sham that he prayed for Sodom, but he wasn't answered. So why would you learn tefillah from a person that prayed and wasn't answered? But according to Rabbi Yaakov Hatzira, no, he was answered. He was answered. Lot got saved. And he says, "Tefillah ha'ila shelo ashchit le'lot ba'avur asara dahinu asara derot shel tzadikim she'atidim leishtalem ad yado." That 10 generations are going to be complete from Lot. V'zehu omro nami ha'asara be'eh ha'yidua. That's why it says lo ashchit ba'avur ha'asara. It doesn't say lo ashchit ba'avur asara. I won't destroy on the merit of 10. It says I won't destroy on the merit of the 10. What do you mean the 10? The 10 of Hey HaYedu'ah L'Rmoz Al Tashlum Heshbon Sadikim Ha'asara Hidim Sheyushlumu Ad Yedei Lot Ve'yashar Nami D'Zeu L'Samuch Lazeh. It says Vayevu Shnei HaMalachim Sedom Ba'erev Lot Yoshev Sha'ar Sedom. Then when the two Malachim came to Sedom at night, and Lot was sitting on the gate of Sedom. That's because he was a judge, and the judges always used to sit by the gates. L'Rmoz Mi Garam Le'Lot Lehinatzel Bakashat Avraham utfilato sheitpalel lehakadosh baruch hu ad she'amad lo ashit lelot ba'abur asara. And so Rabbi Yaakov Hatzira says, no, we learned the tefillah from Abraham because he was answered, but he was answered specifically. So we said that there were 10 generations from Peretz until David HaMelech. So let's take a look if we could find the 10 generations and let's list them. Peretz, David, and we'll pull it up. Let's take a look at all these generations.